Hi, I'm Kim, and I am currently in menopause. It's not even perimenopause, it is full on, in your face, kick in the gut menopause. And this is my story. I started menopause probably about 3 years ago. So in 2022, I had a hysterectomy, and that was after I think over 20 years of suffering from endometriosis. If you don't know what endo is basically an inflammatory condition where the lining of your uterus grows outside of your uterus and it spreads, and it can like make all your reproductive organs get stuck to one another, which mine did. When my surgeon went in there, she found that my ovaries, my fallopian tubes, my uterus, and my intestines were basically all just stuck together. And she said that the area where my uterus and my intestines were stuck together, they were like hard as concrete. I know, it's pretty gross. Anyways, that hysterectomy was my fourth surgery, and it did not prepare me at all for what was to come. She did end up saving my right ovary, but obviously that has now completely failed on me. So for about a month or two before my surgery, I was in and out of ERs. I was in so much pain, and my body was heavily dependent on those hardcore painkillers, just because with endo pain, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a knife is just tearing your insides apart. It's stabbing you from the inside. I remember even the morphine wasn't doing it for me. So as a last resort, like before my hysterectomy, the doctor gave me Lupron, and Lupron is like this drug that temporarily puts your body into menopause. And I've had that before in my 20s, after like my other surgery, but that's another story. And I got that shot in January. So it's really from January of 2022 that I've been in menopause, because February I had my surgery, and then after that, so December of 2021 was the last time I ever had my period. And that time I was bleeding for an entire month. It was bad. But I'll probably do like a separate episode about my endo, because today I just want to talk about menopause. I started experiencing symptoms about a month after my surgery, and it was the hot flashes, the night sweats, but my doctor had told me that it was probably my body just kind of trying to rebalance itself after the surgery and all that. And she mentioned that, I'll still be ovulating since I have my right ovary. And I took her word for it, but I did read online that it's very normal for women to hit menopause within like 5 years after a hysterectomy. So I was expecting early menopause, but I didn't think that it was going to come so early. So 2022 goes by, and I'm trying to adjust to life after that big surgery. I had my organs taken out, and there was a weird grieving process for me that I went through that was unexpected. So I don't have kids, obviously, and my husband and I, we've been married 8 years now, going on 9 very soon. So when my husband and I first got married, we were like, yeah, one day we'll have kids. And then a year went by, another year went by, another year went by, and we we're like, okay, actually we like our lifestyle just the way it is. Maybe we don't want kids. We'll just have fur babies instead. Right before my surgery, when my gynecologist, who is also an endo specialist and a surgeon, she had asked me, are you okay with the possibility of me having to take out your uterus? And I said, go for it. Like, I'm not planning on having kids. Yeah, I don't like the idea of you taking my organs out. I also don't like the idea of having that choice taken away from me, you know? Yeah, I don't want kids right now. And yes, I mean, at the time I was 37. So I was like, what if I want kids in my early 40s? There are plenty of women having kids in their early 40s. I just didn't want that choice taken away from me. You know, it's my life, my body. Like, I want to be able to make the decision whether I want kids or not. And with an hysterectomy, I just felt like restricted, if that makes sense. Like, I was in this prison of my own body and I can't do what I want. And I've always been a free spirit. I've never liked being told what to do. I've always wanted to make decisions for myself. And I think that's where all these feelings of grief came about, is, you know, not having control of my body, having lost my uterus, my womb. This is like a symbol of womanhood. You know, this is my uterus. And also having that choice taken away, because yeah, what if I do want kids later down the road? So the rest of 2022 was just like this big grieving process for me that was unexpected, because initially when the doctor had asked me, I was like, yeah, go for it, take it out, it's fine. And after the surgery, I was like, oh my God, I was depressed. And I think that's when my depression slowly started coming back. And just to give you a brief history, I struggled with chronic depression for a long time, for decades, since I was a teenager. But that's another story too. So I could feel my depression coming back, and I'm sure it was also, a lot of it was hormonal. And then 2023, summertime, I remember this. My hot flashes and night sweats came back with a vengeance. They were so bad. At one point, I counted over 40 hot flashes in one day. Yeah, I counted. And the night sweats. So I would wake up and I am drenched in sweat. And then, you know, it's like you have that wet feeling, right? So I'll get changed. And I would get cold because I've been sweating. And then I'll put the blanket over me. And then I'll wake up and I'm just like drenched again. I'm really hot. Kick back the covers. It was just like this process. So I was waking up like 4 or 5 times a night. Had extreme difficulty going to sleep as well. So I was just in a constant state of fatigue. And then the mood swings. The mood swings have been extreme, to the point where I thought I was going crazy. One time, my mood swings were so bad that my own husband, he even considered calling the police on me because I was just out of control. It's like, it's not even just anger. It is like a deep rooted rage. That's all I can say. It's just a deep rooted rage. Every little thing pissed me off, and it still does sometimes. I remember I was cooking in the kitchen one time, and I was already just having a menopausal day, you know, and I was cutting up onions or something like that, and the onion just went like flying, and I fucking lost my shit. I like got my knife and, you know, I was like, fuck this shit, fuck you, fuck life, fuck me, like fuck the onions, fuck dinner. And my husband comes in and is like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. Get away from me. So in the beginning, when I had these moments of rage, my husband made the mistake of following me around, trying to make sure that I'm okay, trying to calm me down. But that would just set me off even more, just get the fuck away from me. And obviously, I can't be walking around the house with a freaking knife. So sometimes I did let out my anger on my lint roller, and that was something that I could just hit against the wall or the floor. I can release that energy, that anger, that rage, and not cause any damage to anything or anyone. And most importantly, I wouldn't be hurting myself or anyone. And so the lint roller came in handy quite a few times. And then came like the moments of just extreme sadness. So there were days when I couldn't even get out of bed. I remember just lying there thinking, what's the point? What is the point of living? What is the point of going through like constant health issue after another? And it was really difficult. It was hard on our marriage, statistics say that, a lot of women go through divorce, when they're going through menopause. And, a lot of women also commit suicide when they're going through menopause. And these things are real. This is just like, people think, oh, menopause, just hot flashes or night sweats, okay. But it's actually more than that, Now I have to worry about osteoporosis, okay? And I literally could feel my joints and my bones getting weaker. They were sore, they were aching. I recently started taking calcium supplements, and it's helped a bit. I have to worry about my heart health, my brain health. The brain fog is no joke, and I can feel it even more now that I've started YouTube. I'll be filming and I'm just talking, and then I'll just kind of trail out, and I'm just like completely blanking out. And I'm thinking like, what was I saying again? Or what? I just feel really dumb, as if I'm like a little baby trying to learn how to speak again. I'm a former teacher and a school counselor. I talked a lot. That's what I did for a living. I'm also an actor. But despite all that, suddenly I'm just having a lot of difficulty expressing myself. Like I can't remember certain words. My brain will literally just blank out. And even this video now, this is probably like my third or fourth take. Anyways, so that's how my menopause started. These last couple of years have been some of the most difficult times in my entire life, because I feel like I have lost a complete sense of who I was, if that makes sense. I don't feel like the old Kim anymore. I don't know what the heck I'm doing sometimes. I feel lost and confused. I was told that I cannot have hormones because one, I have a history of blood clots, and then two, if I do have estrogen, that can trigger my endo again. Many women think that after a menopause, oh, you don't have your periods anymore, so your endo probably is good. It'll remain dormant because there's no cure for endo. But that's not true. There are plenty of women who are in menopause and who are still going through hell because of their endo. My endo, thankfully right now, hasn't caused me too much pain. I have had, what is that word? See, I can't remember that word. Oh, I have had flare-ups here and there, but they're nothing compared to what they used to be. So if I do take hormones, it'll mainly be estrogen, and my gynecologist is hesitant to prescribe me hormones because estrogen can trigger endo. I'm currently working on getting a second opinion about that, but yeah, and I'm having a hot flash right now actually. So after all the extreme hot flashes and the night sweats, I was like, okay, this is not normal. So I went to go get a physical and I asked if I could get my hormones checked. And sure enough, my results came back and my estrogen levels, guess what my estrogen levels were at? 10. So that's when I knew my worst fears have come true. Since then, I've been trying to find my balance. I'm doing a lot of research on what helps, like natural ways, remedies to deal with menopause symptoms. Apparently, some women don't have any symptoms, and that's wonderful. For some women, like myself, we go through an incredibly tumultuous period, and it can affect everyone else around us as well. My husband now, he now knows how to deal with me when I'm in my menopause moods. He'll just quietly leave the room, and Barney, our other cat, he'll leave the room with him. It's kind of funny. So that's just a brief overview of how my menopause started. I think in another episode, I'll probably dive deeper into like all the symptoms of menopause and, a lot of the symptoms that I've been experiencing, maybe like go into more detail about that. And I'll also go into, some of the things that have worked for me. Like right now I'm taking some progesterone supplements, calcium, magnesium, like all that stuff. So I'll just do a separate video just to kind of narrow down and dive into like all the specific things that have worked and haven't worked for me. So just curious if any of you are going through perimenopause or menopause, if you're having any symptoms, let's just share stories and try to just figure this out together. Thanks for being here. I will catch you next time.